Hello, all. This is Adyaman Arasappa, an enterprise asset management consultant based out of San Francisco Bay Area. I wanted to connect with my industrial friends to share my experiences in the area of enterprise asset management. And I have about 23 years of experience in this space. And I have consulted a wide range of organizations across across the globe, and I have a few items to share so that the industrial community that and the asset management community can get something out of this. Now, I'm going to structure this video not to impart any asset management knowledge to users, because this is aimed at the practicing maintenance managers and asset management consultants. So I'm going to just touch upon 5 questions I get typically when I am engaged in consulting activities. And all those 5 questions are interrelated, and they will basically shed more light on what is the future of enterprise asset management for a particular enterprise or for the industrial community as a whole. Let me go with the first question. The first question that I normally get is my EAM effective? My EAM process that I follow in my enterprise or in my site effective enough? Now, it's a very broad topic, and without evaluating their asset management process, their philosophy, their vision, their principles, their strategy, and the leadership commitment to monitor the performance of enterprise asset management, it is very difficult to pass any comment or give any suggestion. So typically, asset management consultants like me adopt several strategies to come up with an evaluation of a particular site, or a group of sites of a particular organization, and see how well have they instituted an EAM program. Many times, EAM programs are thought to be just product implementations. If a CMMS or an EAM application is instituted, then the job is done. Things will fall in place. All the processes are going to improve. My failures are going to come down. My compliance is going to go up. My maintenance performance and the key indices are going to be better over a period of time. Whilst that's the intention of any intervention, but mere possession of those tools will not take you to that higher levels of performance. It has to be worked upon. So to answer this question, we do a thorough examination and come up with the findings and give the pointers to the organization. Hey, these are the areas where you need to improve. And you have made significant gains after this intervention. So appreciation on that. But there's a lot of scope for improvement. The next question is, okay, fine, point taken. I have made a lot of investment in the past in the area of enterprise asset management, but I have not got the returns. The returns in terms of monetary benefits, I expected a reduction in my breakdown by certain percentage. I wanted my preventive maintenance adherence improvement by a certain percentage. I wanted my maintenance cost for a production to maintenance ratio to be at a certain value. I have not got it. So why should I trust any new intervention, or why should I even trust the investment I have already made in this space? As I indicated earlier, mere investment will not solve your problems. It has to be operationalized. It has to be made an evergreen application. It has to be adopted completely by the workforce, and they must trust the system, and the system must be taken as a single window of application, or it must be a living system, and all the decisions must be made strictly based on what the system provides us with information. So, are we in that situation? If the answer is, while yeah, we've been using it, but it's not to the fullest, and that's exactly where you need to start your analysis. It has to be an open and transparent evaluation about how we have changed ourselves after the intervention of an EAM application, and how well the system has been utilized. If the system has not been utilized optimally, if it is underutilized or utilized in an erratic fashion, it does more damage than good. It is better to have no system than to use a system in a irregular basis, because you're not going to make any gains. If you make your decision based on partial data or incorrect data, you are going to fail. So, to this question, what has happened to my investment? Your investment is safe. I humorously always say the investment you have made is a sort of a dead investment which doesn't pay you interest. So, what do you mean by interest? The interest is the dividends you get, the gains you make, the benefits you derive out of the system, right? If you have improvised your preventive maintenance parameters, breakdown parameters, your equipment replacement strategies have been effective based on the data that the system gives you, and you have optimized the maintenance itself. You have optimized because the plant is not a static entity. The assets are not going to remain assets for hundreds of years. They are assets. They undergo deterioration. They need to be maintained. They possibly need to be even replaced. And this is the role of enterprise asset management system, to give you all the necessary information to take timely corrective action. Based on the analysis you perform, based on the data you derive, and based on the decisions you make, if the performance, at the end of the day, the whole performance of your enterprise or your site from an enterprise asset management standpoint can be evaluated based on one parameter: what is the cost of my maintenance per unit of item I make? If it was X dollars last year, if it is the same X dollars or it is X plus delta X. So that will give a story about whether my maintenance is effective, my EM systems are giving the necessary information for me to take decision, or whether my maintenance process itself is robust enough. So there are a lot of dynamics associated with the investments you have made, the activities that follows it, and the championship of enterprise asset managers to nurture it, to monitor it, and to make continual improvement. So, long story short, on the investment you have made, your investment on EAM is never going to be a waste. It's a worthwhile investment, but it has to be operationalized. Any new investment you make must take into account of the effectiveness of the previous investments you have made in this space, which will give you more confidence to make such investments in future. Because any investment will expect certain returns. So your investment is safe. Fine. We are good with the question number 2. Going on to question number 3. Where do I want to go? I mean, can you give me a direction, or what is the way forward for me? So my answer to them is, where do you want to go? You can sustain your level of maintenance or asset management forever with the same set of maintenance practices, the same set of procedures, and the same oversight capabilities of the top leadership. You can sustain it. But if you want to make changes, you wanted to elevate your position, or you wanted to be a leader in the space, then you have to make certain changes. You can't exist the same way you existed and then wanted to improve. For that, you need to re-examine yourself first. Either you can do it internally or with the help of an external consultant. I will go with an asset level evaluation. To start with, is my system of record, which will be an EAM application or a CMMS. Here I'm going to use the term CMMS and EAM interchangeably because the lines are not very thick that separates EAM and CMMS. CMMS with vendor data, cost data, and lifecycle data associated becomes a robust and a comprehensive EAM application. So you can take EAM and CMMS as same for now. The reason why I am hopping too much on EAM and CMMS is because these two systems are not utilized fully. This is a global reality. Based on the analysis, based on the reports that are available in the public domain by several research entities, only 39 to 40% of organizations use CMMS or EAM to the fullest. What about the remaining 60% of the organizations? It's not that they got the EAM application free of cost. It's not that the consultants gave a service with no charge. Why 60%? It's a big number. 60% of organizations do not use their EAM applications optimally. Now that talks volumes about the lag industry is having in this space and the lack of appreciation of enterprise asset management. Now I would like to start from the top. Unless the top leadership understands and appreciates the significance and importance of enterprise asset management, this 30%, 60% ratio will continue forever. Now, this 60% people who are lagging behind are the ones who are not benefiting from the investments they have already made. Now, this goes back to question number 2. What about the investments I've made and I'm not getting any dividends? There is no single reason as to why these 60% of organizations do not use these systems optimally. First and the foremost is the trust. The enterprise asset management function or a business activity depends a lot of trust from the topmost leadership to the technician level operatives. Because at the end of the day, it's a long chain. Enterprise asset management starts with the basic vision of the organization. Now, vision statement of organizations will be on the business lines, on the quality lines. But what about asset management? So there must be a vision statement for enterprise asset management also. And that will have implication and it will have a relationship with their production, with their quality, and most importantly, their safety. Asset management is all pervasive. Let us not forget one simple fact. Without assets, there is no enterprise. And without enterprise, there's no business. So assets are fundamental to the existence of the business itself. So that must be borne in mind. So a lot of emphasis and importance must be given to enterprise asset management. It should not be restricted only to repairs and maintenance, because most often than not, it is still now considered as a maintenance function. Something breaks, fix it. Or take care of certain assets which have regulatory consequences or implications. So take care of them better than the others. What about the vast majority of other assets? They did not just land up in your facility. It's not that they can run by themselves. It's not that they are never going to fail or it's going to run perpetually. It's not the case. Assets, whether big or small, are assets at the end of the day. We have to come up with strategies to manage assets based on their criticality, their cost, their failure potential, their production relationship, quality relationship, and ensure that each and every asset deserves some respect and attention. Enterprise asset management must ensure that. have we done that? If the answer is yes, maybe partially, then you need to do a reevaluation. You need to do a strong reevaluation, and then you'll get answers from here. Where can we go? The scope is very big. Improvement scope is enormous. As I indicated earlier, 60% of organizations don't use EAM systems optimally. Data quality. Sometimes we come across shocking data in terms of the assets, the inventory of assets configured in their system of record, which will be an EAM system, and the actual number of assets on the field. Sometimes the differences are as high as 20%, meaning 20% of the assets on the field are not reflecting in the system of record, and vice versa. And it comes in different issues. I mean, I'm facing a lot of issues in terms of the data quality itself in this. Even if the assets are configured accurately and correctly in the system of record, it lacks certain vital characteristic data in terms of make, rating, and other particulars, which makes it difficult for us to do an analysis at the end of the day based on their performance, based on their breakdowns, based on their failure rate, and everything. Many a time, EAM applications or EAM systems are implemented without taking these factors into account. A mere configuration of assets in an EAM solution with workflows, with certain other aspects, bare minimum required to operationalize an EAM application, the job ends there. So that is a wrong thing. It is not the way EAM applications must be instituted. EAM systems must be institutionalized with all data required for day-to-day maintenance, preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance, breakdown maintenance, based on the spares consumption, based on the vendors, based on the users or the maintenance operatives that maintain the assets, based on the insurance data associated, or the insurance coverage, the warranty coverage, and factors of that nature. Now, does each and every asset have all these aspects configured without any error in your system of record? Each and every asset. I'm again emphasizing that point. Each and every asset. If the answer is no, then that's where you need to focus your attention. No harm in getting back to basics. If something is not right at the basic level, there's no point in covering it up and saying, hey, we can do it at a later point in time. That's not important. Unfortunately, this attitude has resulted in a situation where the analysts or the maintenance fraternity in the organization are not able to come up with a decent analysis and take corrective decisions or strong decisions on equipment replacement or changing their asset management strategies or maintenance procedures on assets. So it is extremely important to relook into the EAM landscape, its comprehensiveness, its completeness, and the adoption by the workforce. Adoption is another big area which is not very, very encouraging, I would say. Imagine if a facility has 100 breakdowns. I'm just giving an example. The real 100 breakdowns events occurred, and they only register, say, 75 work orders, breakdown work orders. What about the remaining 25%? If at the end of the year, somebody takes into account about the breakdown pattern and all sorts of data around it and take a decision, do you think the decision is going to be correct? It's going to be wrong, because 25% of work orders, breakdown work orders, were not registered in the system. And even work orders that are registered in the system do not have adequate data for making any meaningful conclusion. So this is just a tip of the iceberg in terms of how EAM is underutilized, sometimes wrongly utilized, and sometimes it's not utilized at all. So this is an important aspect that all maintenance engineers, all asset managers in the facility must make a note of and improve this. This is extremely important. This is very fundamental for making improvements or to achieve a greater success in enterprise asset management performance. Question number 4. How to embrace new technologies? So I always start with a saying: you must learn to crawl before you can walk. It's not to sarcastically say that organizations are not mature enough to come up with new technology or to adopt new technology and stuff like that. No, the intention is not that. The reason why I'm saying this is, if you have a lot of issues with your data, with your asset information, without your processes, with the technicians and workforce not appreciating the existing technology, what gives you the confidence that new technology is going to make significant changes in your entity? It's not, because that could be another flavor of the season or something that's happening hot in the market. Let's also embrace it. Let's also prove to the rest of the world we too have it. So that's not something we can really embrace. That's not something we should really look as something that's going to make significant changes for our future. That's not going to do any change. It's going to just be one of the additions to already existing technologies we have, like a CMMS or a predictive maintenance technology or an APM application and stuff like that. The industrial IoT is a very promising technology change that we are seeing in the recent years, that is making a good headway in several asset intensive industries. It's very promising, and it is going to improve in years to come, with more sophistications, with more reliable data, with more reliable data acquisition system, more reliable early warning system, and what have you. But that comes at a price. It requires an extensive infrastructure to be operationalized, and it too depends on the strength of your basic EAM, the data quality in EAM. So when you embrace new technologies like industrial IoT, artificial intelligence, or any new emerging technology, you should be mindful of the fact that the supporting EAM application or a CMMS application is robust enough to integrate itself with the emerging technologies and the new advancements in the technology space. And IoT, as far as IoT is concerned, it is quite promising. It's quite promising, and it involves the sensor quality, the calibration of sensors that acquire data and feed to the telemetry, and then it gets into business rule processing, and an early warning system is generated, and a follow-up work order is generated at the CMMS end, and timely corrective actions can be taken before some breakdown really occurs. That's a very promising area which must be utilized by all industries going forward. But as I said earlier, before adopting that, please re-evaluate your existing EAM process. Now, I'm not touching upon any technology related topic here, like one CMMS or one EAM application is better over the other. My experience in the space says that almost all products, top EAM products or CMMS products, have more or less the same level of sophistication, same level of features, same level of integration capabilities with third-party applications. So there is no, I cannot say that one is better. Maybe in services, in terms of availability of skilled workforce, in terms of the strength of the system integrators and a product vendor relationship, there could be differences here and there. But in terms of the strength of a product, all the products have the similar capabilities, and it is how these products are configured, how it's instituted, how they are trained, how they are sustained matters. So I'm not going into the economics of which product is good or which product is cheap. I mean, that's best left to your judgment and which one you wanted to have. So different organizations have different preferences. Some want, I wanted commercially off the shelf product. Some organizations, no, I want an ERP based EAM application because it's all bundled into my one common IT platform. So they have merits, they have demerits. That's a different discussion topic altogether. But regardless of what you choose, you must be very thorough with having the application instituted, configured, trained, and sustained. So that's the most important thing I would like to emphasize, though I'm answering the technology related question. So embracing technology must be done with plenty of caution, plenty of thought, and with plenty of vision in mind that how we are going to use this technology and how it is going to integrate well with my pre-existing technologies. The last question: how long do I need consulting support from external consultants and advisors? My quick answer is as long as you wanted to. So you take a call on how long you want to get consulted by consultants, because consultants are catalysts in making improvements in your enterprise. They come up with facts, they do evaluation, they do a recommendation, they give you a path or a roadmap. But at the end of the day, it is the organization and the EM leadership that actually will convert that advisory into a working solution or a deployable framework. Because consultants don't live in the facility for years together to ensure that whether their advisory is really getting converted into actions. They basically give their views, their recommendations based on their thorough analysis. It's not consultants will just give some random ideas and then vanish from the scene. Their consulting output will be very thoughtful. It will have a lot of insights into it. But as I indicated earlier, it is up to the management how they take it. If they are serious enough, it will be a sure shot success in terms of converting the recommendations into actions. So finally, I would like to say this on why should I have frequent consulting interventions? It's not really helping. It is true. If you have frequent consulting interventions on the same subject, on the same topic, time and again, there's something seriously wrong with either you or the consultant. Because it requires just a few sessions or a few studies, to really come up with an action plan. And once that is done, maybe every 2 years or 3 years, you can do a reevaluation or do an audit or an assessment in terms of how effective these recommendations were in terms of improvement and everything. I also sometimes say, if an organization consults itself, they have acquired something called natural intelligence, sort of an opposite of artificial intelligence. Because when the natural intelligence is generated or developed within the organization, within the asset management fraternity of that site or at the enterprise level, they don't require any machine to crunch data to give them insights or to give some projections and everything, because they know about the systems more than any machine can do. Because machine requires some data. It crunches based on algorithm and it spits out certain values which will give you an indication how good or bad the system is. But natural intelligence is more about a comprehensive view, because no machine can replace a human being. No machine has been developed yet that can outsmart a human being. And that smart human being, that smart brain, that smart mind must exist in the enterprise asset management workforce in all the enterprises. And this video aims at achieving that objective. So to summarize this video, I would like to say this: enterprise asset management is a very important aspect or very basic foundational dimension of enterprise, without which no enterprise can survive. And because safety is intrinsically related to asset management, regulatory compliance is related to it, quality is related, and even your production is related. Enterprise asset management is the most important aspect in your portfolio, in your business functions. So please do revisit, please do give greater impetus, greater emphasis on enterprise asset management to improve the performance of your enterprise. And together we can make the industrial world a better place, a safe place, and a productive place. Thanks a lot, and I'll appreciate if this video is shared to all asset managers and all industries, so that they get benefit out of it. Now, if even 10 to 20% of the asset managers or organizations are going to revisit their performance capabilities and everything in the space and make changes, I think the objective of this video will be achieved. Thanks a lot. And please do share your comments and feedback, which will help me in coming up with more material of this sort. Thanks a lot.